Good morning. Good morning. Both to everyone here in person and to those online. I am Stephen Luddington. My pronouns are he and him. I'm a member of UUCPA's Board of Trustees. I'm also involved with the Membership and Growth Committee and am a longtime participant in Harmonic Circle. Whatever your sexual orientation, gender identity, ethnicity, or family makeup, you are most heartily welcome here at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto. May you find here both nourishment and inspiration for your journey through life. At UUCPA, we express our mutual respect by supporting each other's decisions about masking, distancing, and other health measures. If you'd like a mask today, please raise your hand and an usher will provide one. If you're new here, you may not have seen these cards before, but please know that during the service we use them to share any joys, sorrows, or concerns that we want to share with the congregation. If you'd like to fill one out, you can always find them at the welcome table, up here on the altar, and also at this table over on the side, right next to the window. There is still time to write one, or to light an altar candle. As I share a few community announcements, many of which are also listed in your order of service. Today is the first Sunday of the month. And that means there are regular meetings today after the service. Thriving Together, a health and wellness support group, meets at 11:45 in the fireside room. A similar online meeting is tonight at 7 p.m. The Green Sanctuary Committee meets at noon in room 10. The writing group will meet online this afternoon at 1 p.m. And the Harmonic Circle will be singing on the McFadden patio near the parking lot this afternoon from 1 to 3. Please join us. Today, Palo Alto Pride, who is this month's Justice Partner, will be presenting a major event from 2 to 5 in King Plaza in downtown Palo Alto. Matt Rosen is here this morning to tell you a bit more about this event. And here he comes.
Palo Alto's first ever Pride Festival is this afternoon from 2 to 5 p.m. As you just heard at King Plaza in front of City Hall. UUCPA will be there alongside several other local religious communities at the Multi-Faith Voices for Peace and Justice booth. So whether you are LGBTQ yourself or an ally in solidarity, I hope you can attend this joyful inaugural event. And when you do, please be sure to stop by the Multi-Faith Voices for Peace and Justice table and say hi. And thank you to the volunteers who are helping to make UUCPA's presence at this important event happen. Thank you.
Next Sunday, June 14th, please join Reverend Peter Faraday for Getting to Know You, a newcomer gathering after the service from 11:45 to 12:45. This informal get-together for relative newcomers offers a chance to learn more about Unitarian Universalism in general and about UUCPA in particular, to hear from others about their spiritual journeys and why they're exploring UUCPA, and to discuss any questions or musings with Reverend Peter. You can just show up, but if you're pretty sure that you're going to attend, please RSVP beforehand by email to admin@uucpa.org. Again, that's next Sunday, June 14th, right after the service. I now invite you to close or lower your eyes and to center yourself in your chair. Take a couple of deep breaths. Let your forehead and jaw relax. Your shoulders drop. Your abdomen soften. Breathe again. Let any mental chatter subside. And, as mindfulness practice advises, become fully present to this moment. We gather our different paths entwined to deepen our spiritual lives, nourishing connection, learning from each other, caring for each other, and tending to our world. As we follow the sound of the bell into silence, we allow ourselves to arrive here fully. Welcome. Oh.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Peter Faraday, UUCPA's interim minister through summer of 2027. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm glad you're here today. Each Sunday, Unitarian Universalist congregations light a chalice, the symbol of our UU faith. Those online are invited to light a chalice or candle with us. Our words are adapted from reading 434 in our gray hymnal. Sacred Spirit of our radically interconnected existence and our deeply intertwined lives, help us to remember here our highest aspirations. May we know that we are not isolated beings, but related in mystery and miracle to the universe, to the communion of all life, and to each other. In kindling our Unitarian Universalist chalice flame, we invoke and invite into this space the divine light of wisdom, the sacred fire of justice and compassion, and dedicate ourselves anew to bringing our fullest gifts of love and service to the altar of humanity. Before we sing, we're going to continue with a few follow-ups to last Sunday's volunteer appreciation celebration. First, 20 volunteers in our children's and youth religious education program were verbally recognized. However, because Reverend Cat and I were a bit unclear about which of two working lists was our final one, unfortunately, 8 folks went unnamed. No, I know. Yeah. So we'd first like to thank Beth Nord for pointing out that omission, offer our apologies to those 8 folks, and appreciate them today. It also dawned on us that we'd like to thank those who support and organize our equinox and solstice celebrations. And Edie Keating added 2 missed kitchen crew volunteers. Before naming names, let's bring up the slide of the lovely volunteer appreciation certificate Reverend Cat designed. And this week I will read it aloud. Is there a chance to make that a little bigger? Not for me, just for everybody. It says, awarded in deep appreciation of your volunteer service to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Palo Alto. This certificate represents the heartfelt gratitude of the staff and your fellow congregants for your devotion of time, talent, and attention during the 2025-26 church year. Your contributions greatly enhanced UUCPA's programs and the life of this community. Thank you for your invaluable gifts of loving service. Like last Sunday, if you're present, when you hear your name, please raise a hand and Reverend Cat will bring you a certificate. In no particular order, the additional children's and youth religious education volunteers are Marilyn Stoddard, Diana Skold, Beth Nord, hands up if you're here, Stephen Luddington, Eric Beer, Robert Neff, Paul Koska, and Lorraine Koska. A lot of them are at Owl. We'll just fly over there and drop some later then, I think. Cat's going there next. I see a hand up over here. Oh, that's... I think a little one wants a certificate too. Okay, now on to those who make our equinox and solstice celebrations happen. Please raise a hand, including Rebecca Shapley, Edie Keating, Heather Chen, Laurel McClure, Lindsay North, Marisha Scott, Laura Corbett, and Leona Chu. And about kitchen crew to Joe English and Bill Hackenberger for their devoted help with that stellar team. Thank you, one and all. As well as all those we recognized again last week. And a reminder to everyone that if you volunteered for something this past church year and you weren't here last week to receive one or more certificates, please come to the altar after the service and take however many you'd like. Knowing that you're ethical people, and we'll just take them, of course, yeah. Other times, these will also be available in the office, so stop by for yourself or someone else you know who hasn't received theirs yet. Thank you. And, as it's always great to sing at a celebration, let's. And wouldn't you know, our opening song is number 368 in the Gray Hymnal, Now Let Us Sing. Since its structure is a little unusual, music director Bruce Olstad will coach us a bit. So please rise in body or in spirit, and Bruce. Oh.
Is this on? Not? Yes? Yes, it is. Great. Okay, so this is just basically in 2 parts. Many of us know this hymn pretty well, but of course some don't know it at all. The way it's written, it looks like, if you're looking at the music, like if you are a tenor or a bass, the lowest voices, you're supposed to sing the bottom line, and if you are a alto or soprano, the upper voices, you're supposed to sing the top line. That isn't true. You can sing whatever line you want. But I'm going to ask the choir to demonstrate both parts right now. So can I have the tenors and basses sing the lower line? So 1, ready, and go. Good. So there's that little surprise ending where you don't sing on the downbeat. Great. And then I'm going to ask the sopranos and altos to demonstrate the upper part, okay? And that comes in after the lower part. All right. And I think on the slides, yeah, they're right. So the upper part is indented and in italics there, if you can see that. Okay. It's very fancy. Okay. Sopranos and altos. Here we go. Ready? And go. Great. And then all we do is we change one word for each verse. So there's the faith verse, there's a hope, so it's sing to the power of the hope, sing to the power of the love, and sing to the power of the joy. Are we doing the joy verse? We are, yeah. Okay, great. All right, so pick a part and let's do this.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Kat Boyle. My pronouns are she, hers. If you are young at heart, please come sit up on our colorful quilt. We have a story today. It's different from the story in your order of service. That story will be told. But today we're going to say, the story that we're going to tell is called The Boy with Flowers in His Hair. And it's by Jarvis. And there he is. Oh my goodness. Look at our beautiful pride, friends. Fabulous. So our friend in the story is actually pretty much set up for pride, I think. He's looking pretty fabulous. So this story is called, The Boy with the Flowers in His Hair. All right. His name is David, and he's the boy with flowers in his hair. And he is my best friend. Everyone likes David. Even Mrs. Jones, and flowers make her sneeze. He's sweet and gentle, just like his petals. We have the best time together, finding good puddles, making up songs, and running away from bees. Once he had a family of birds living in his hair for an entire month. It was really funny. But one day, something happened. I was watering David's hair, as you do, and one of the petals fell off into my hand. And that afternoon, he didn't want to play. The next day, he started wearing a hat, and David, he never wore hats, and he was quiet. David was never quiet. Oh, what's going on here? Mrs. Jones asked us to take off our coats and our scarves and our hats, and when David took off his, petals fluttered down like butterflies, and David was twiggy, spiky, and brittle. Everyone stayed away in case they got hurt by his branches. I got a few scratches, but it wasn't David's fault. Then I had an idea. I asked Miss Jones for a paintbrush and some scissors, and I found a way to give David his color back. I made new flowers for David all the time. Everybody wanted to help. David seemed to be back to how he was before. Almost. Then, one day, I noticed a different flower in David's hair, and it wasn't one of mine, and it wasn't anyone else's. It was David's. It was a real flower, a new flower, prettier than ever. More and more, David's own flowers started to bloom, and soon enough, all those busy, buzzy bees were back. So right now, David has lots and lots of flowers in his hair, and I'm making sure I still have lots of paper ones, just in case he ever needs them. Because he is my best friend, and I am his. So let's take care of our friends just as much as David does with his. Thank you for listening to my story. If you are young and go to RE, please meet Mr. Greg in the lobby, and we'll see you after service. Thank you.
One of the joys of this job is being able to get turned on to new kids' stories that are really fun. Yeah. As welcoming congregation team co-leader Matt Rosen shared in our announcements, the Palo Alto Pride Festival happens downtown today starting at 2. I'll be there, and our reading by Lois Van Leer provides some reasons why, and why I hope you'll come too. It's titled, For Pride. They will march, walk, wheel, dance, shimmy, and shake. Block upon block of undulating color, flesh, banners, signs, clothing, or lack thereof. Hands raised, hands linked, apart, together, singing, shouting, chanting, silent, joyous, tearful, nervous, afraid, proud, defiant, angry, happy, delirious, tentative, ecstatic, courageous, brave, free. The stereotype, the unrecognizable, the flamboyant, the ordinary, the parent, the child, the runaway, the lost, the lonely, the found. Gay, lesbian, bisexual, trans, queer, intersex, questioning, allies. Those who taunt and jeer, their banners of hate 10 feet tall. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Burn in hell. The other slogans, straight but not narrow. I love my gay child. Siding with love. One day a year, 1 out of 365, Mardi Gras out of season, festive, bacchanalian, tame, booths, food, shopping. Underneath, there is a history, resistance. It was the marginalized of the marginalized, drag queens, transvestites, the butch and the femme, who, unlike Rosa Parks, did not sit down, but in their tired rage stood up, rose up, fought back, holding the police captive in the bars they had come to raid. Their weapons, their oppression, their hands, beer bottles. Stonewall, 6 days of riots in New York, June 1969. A year later, a march in Philadelphia, New York, Chicago, LA, San Fran. And now, any weekend in June, anywhere around the world, Pride, capital P-R-I-D-E. Why do we march? for those who are not able, for those who have been murdered, for those who are ravaged by disease, for those who are still beaten, still taunted, still harassed, still victims, still targets. Why do we march? Because some truths ain't self-evident, because all men ain't protected equal, and we love a good party. They will march, walk, wheel, dance, shimmy, and shake, block upon block of undulating color, flesh, banners, signs, clothing, or lack thereof, hands raised, hands linked, apart, together, singing, shouting, chanting, silent, joyous, tearful, nervous, afraid, proud, defiant, angry, happy, delirious, tentative, ecstatic, courageous, brave, free. Here ends the reading. We now further honor anything that was shared and anything in our hearts left unsaid by lifting these up in prayerful song. Please rise in body or in spirit and sing number 123 in the great hymnal, Spirit of Life. The lyrics are also on screen and online. And if you stand, please remain so for the meditation that follows. Please be seated. Oh, I'm sorry. Bad reflex on my part. Yeah. No, please stand. And if you're standing, please look behind you and make sure that anyone who is remained seated can either see a video screen or myself. Thank you. Spiritual practices involving meditation and breathing take many forms. Some utilize stillness, others employ motion. As we've done some other Sundays, let's move and breathe a moment with a simple Tai Chi-like exercise. You can do this seated, but if you're standing, you might want to spread out just an inch. Folks online, you're welcome to stand as well, if that works for you. Feel free to modify the movements to whatever suits you physically, but regardless of how you move, I invite you now to tune into your breath. Let shoulders and arms relax. Then turning palms up, we raise our arms while inhaling deeply. As an option, you can also rise on your toes a little. And turning palms down, we exhale. Again, palms up and lift while inhaling. Then turn palms over and down as we release. Tune into your body. Tune into your breath. And now inhale mindful presence and exhale mental distractions. Inhale peace. Exhale agitation. Inhale gratefulness. Exhale cynicism. Inhale trust. Exhale doubt. Inhale community. Exhale isolation. Inhale acceptance. Exhale judgmentalism. Inhale, joyfulness. Exhale, pessimism. And last one, inhale, energy. And exhale, lethargy. Now pressing hands together over our hearts, we breathe a few times, focusing on the inflow and outflow in this moment. Grateful for each breath of life and the chance to share ours with others. And to close, we offer a little bow of thanks for this shared moment of connection. Thank you. Please be seated.
Before we sing, the choir just wanted to make an announcement that they have a very absent-minded director who forgot to put the correct information in the order of service. So if you were listening carefully, you would eventually hear that we are not going to sing The Gift of Love, but in honor of the first Palo Alto Pride, we are singing this beautiful piece called I Will Be Earth, and it's by a prominent American composer, Gwyneth Walker, who also happens to be a lesbian. And the poem is by one of the foundational 20th century American poets, Mae Swenson, who was also a lesbian. So I Will Be Earth by Gwyneth Walker.
I will be earth, you be
Thank you all. Resuming our sermon series on how ideas about the soul affect both individuals and society, a reminder that you can access audio recordings of prior installments on our UUCPA website if you like. As usual, I'll start with a condensed review of what's come before, though since it's been a while, today's recap is a little longer than most. I've described how while the modern era has given humankind immense gifts, its dominant philosophy of materialism, which holds that physical matter constitutes the whole of reality, has also purged any transcendent or transrational, that is, beyond the rational aspect from human life. And I've proposed that the resultant spiritual vacuum causes major personal and collective problems. And also, in agreement with mythologist Joseph Campbell, that archaic religious remedies, primarily meaning believe this or land in hell, Christianity and Islam, now mainly only aggravate these and related ills. Then, drawing on Plato, I offered a very different transrational template from those of traditional religions. The main points are that human beings have a soul and enter the world with a life blueprint and a personal calling and destiny. Plato also describes the soul's spirit companion, termed daimon, D-A-I-M-O-N, in Greek, and genius in Latin, that guides the soul during its earthly excursion. And further, that when people identify and live out this calling as wholeheartedly as possible, it's personally beneficial and potentially culturally transformative. My latest installments then broadly described the historical emergence of materialism's soulless worldview, including the very understandable reasons this first became normalized, which was largely to break free of religious tyranny. I summed up that process by contrasting two views of the modern era as articulated by cultural historian Richard Tarnas. The first is of an epic narrative of human progress, a long, heroic journey from a primitive world of ignorance, suffering, and limitation to a brighter modern world of ever-increasing knowledge, freedom, and well-being. Yet, referencing the Titanic, an archetypal embodiment of modern achievement and affluence, I offered the contemporary French cultural critic and philosopher Paul Virilio's observation that when you invent the ship, you also invent the shipwreck. Thus, the same cultural voyage that produced such enormous benefits has also wreaked unequaled devastation, including, as discussed previously, that of indigenous peoples by Western colonialist and religious powers under the Catholic Church's doctrine of discovery, which sanctioned the European, at the time mainly Spanish, seizure of the Americas. If you've ever wondered why so many places in California and other southwestern states are named San this or Santa that, both meaning saint in Spanish, there you go. This and other destructions then suggest a very different outlook on modernity's story, one that, again in Tarnas's words, reveals a progressive impoverishment of human life and the human spirit, a fragmentation of original unities, a ruinous destruction of the sacred community of being. And of course, both accounts, the wondrous ship and the horrendous shipwreck, are simultaneously true. A paradox I outlined last time up to the 1960s, which was when a critical mass of people judged the shipwreck side of modernism's worldview and practices intolerable, a shift in cultural consciousness that marked the latest historical course correction, now known as postmodernism. About that term, I said there's no single definition, and it's been applied in architecture, literary and cultural criticism, design, and other fields and schools of thought. Yet in general, its basic willingness to consider multiple perspectives tends to foster better understanding of other people's, and ecologically speaking, other beings' realities, and thus is often a starting point for empathy, which can then seek improvements. Thinker and author Steve McIntosh encapsulates this more attentive and inclusive outlook. The new we that coheres as the worldview of postmodernism is comprised of the victims of modernity including individual people, races, and cultures, and the overall natural environment, together with those who are sensitive to the pain of victimization, even though they may not have been directly victimized themselves. This sensitivity is a collective parallel to something I spoke of when I discussed the doctrine of discovery. Author and former New York Times columnist David Brooks's transrational experience of recognizing the infinite value of all souls, in contrast to political and religious powers that often show themselves deaf and blind to others' value and to their suffering. We continue now with some findings from neuropsychology that help us understand why some people's senses are so blocked they can't perceive modernism's shipwreck side, as well as how this impairment constitutes a central underlying rift in our current cultural discord. As I go, a few bits may sound familiar, as I also mentioned pieces of this in October when I spoke on the nature of change and varied human responses to it. But that didn't include that in his book, Brain and Culture, Yale professor of psychiatry Bruce Wexler describes how the human brain is most malleable early in life. So when we're younger, our developing worldview admits a wide range of input and readily adjusts to new data and to diverse interpretations of these. But as adulthood sets in, our brains become less elastic, so gradually people unconsciously start trying to match their outer worlds to an increasingly inflexible inner one. One main reason that people attempt to maintain this match, not a reason, but a way. One main way people attempt to maintain this match is to cluster with others who consistently validate their worldview, a strategy that contains potent psychosomatic reinforcement mechanisms. For when inner beliefs and perceptions of the outer world match up, what Dr. Wexler terms consonance, it naturally feels good. But when that match is confronted by incompatible information, the resulting dissonance engenders mental ambiguity and thus apprehension, which in turn triggers some level of bodily stress response. Wexler further reports that such worldview clusters don't just passively affirm, but, quote, actively increase the conformity of members' beliefs, and that those who espouse positions contrary to those of the group are chastised, devalued, and threatened with exclusion, another common source of both mental and physical distress. Add another reinforcement, confirmation bias, in which people seize on data and arguments that support their beliefs and ignore, discredit, or simply forget conflicting evidence, and the cycle of desired certainty and acceptance frequently becomes self-perpetuating. All of this then limits exposure to and receptiveness of experiences and perspectives that don't already simply conform to one's worldview. And since large parts of these processes are unconscious, many people become convinced that their outlook isn't a product of their familial, cultural, and educational milieus, nor of the structures and aims of social, including religious, institutions, but rather that the world they perceive is the only real one, or at least the only right one, whether or not that conviction is anywhere close to justifiable. Like myself, Wexler sympathizes with how hard it can feel when our outer environments change so much that maintaining consonance is difficult, if not impossible. Citing as examples people who lose a loved one and adults who immigrate to an unfamiliar culture, he recognizes that adjusting to such disorienting shifts involves a, quote, effortful restructuring of the internal world to match the now changed external world. Of course, such personal changes have collective parallels. And in the 1960s, for the first time ever, that now changed world truly became not just personal or tribal or national, but global. Because on December 23, 1968, NASA astronaut Jim Lovell pointed a live TV camera from Apollo 8 and framed a grainy black and white shot of Earth from 175,000 miles away. The next day, as the spacecraft again rounded the moon, crewmate Bill Anders snapped perhaps the most perspective-enlarging photograph in history, an image of Earth ascending over the lunar horizon that came to be known as Earthrise. I think we're going to bring that up now. Yep. Just looking at it gets to me. It's amazing. The following day in the New York Times, poet Archibald MacLeish expressed the massive shift in awareness this image triggered. To see the earth as it truly is, small and blue and beautiful in that eternal silence where it floats, is to see ourselves as riders on the earth together, siblings on that bright loveliness in the eternal cold. Reprising Richard Tarnas's awareness from a prior talk that world views create worlds, this literal new world view that beheld the earth, and thus all humankind and all other creatures, as it truly is, evoked like responses in countless hearts at the time. And mythologist Joseph Campbell spoke to the collective revisioning this calls for. As viewed by astronauts from the moon, the Earth lacks those lines of socio-political division that are so prominent on maps. And as recognized here below, the web of interlacing interdependencies that now enfolds the planet is of one life. All that is required is a general change of vision to accord with these contemporary facts. Echoing almost verbatim words Campbell also expressed elsewhere, world religious scholar Houston Smith draws the obvious conclusion in a one-line declaration of this interdependency. The community today can be no single tradition. It is the planet. It is the planet. And Smith recognizes the challenge of adjusting to this unprecedented circumstance. When historians look back on our 20th century, they may remember it most not for space travel or the release of nuclear energy, but as the time when the peoples of the world first came to take one another seriously. The change that this new situation requires of us all is staggering. Recalling Wexler, a measure of initial befuddlement and disquiet in accommodating this higher moon's eye view is certainly understandable. As the folk rock band The Byrds sang in 1966, 8 miles high, and when you touch down, you'll find that it's stranger than known. Much less, or much more, 175,000 miles. And as both experience and allegorical legends the world over attest, even positive changes involve temporarily melancholy endings, as they require the symbolic death of more restricted worldviews and ways of being before a more expansive identity and its satisfactions can arise. Yet, even with tough changes like bereavement or immigration, with some patience, effort, and support, people do adjust to altered situations all the time, often not only with tolerable but deeply gratifying results. But Campbell's general change of vision and the essential restructuring that stems from it can only start with admitting a shift has occurred. And in this regard, Houston, we have a problem. Because although the psychoneurological dynamics Professor Wexler describes hold true for everyone, Sizable differenism in both innate temperament and external surroundings, say being raised in an atmosphere of open exploration, hello UUism, versus amid rigid religious or social beliefs, and they're frequently more cordoned off, conformist, and chastising clusters, mean the ultimate degree of flexibility and the capacity to realign inner and outer worlds when needed varies drastically. Thus, myriad people possess a postmodern sensitivity to the anguish of human oppression and ecological destruction, are able to and willing to squarely face modernism's inequities and pathologies, and fully endorse the restructuring needed to address these. While, for whatever combination of internal and external reasons, it seems just as many, by and large, still attached to some blend of the same religious dogma, presumptions of cultural superiority, and or political or commercial interests that produce the doctrine of discovery, are fully dedicated to the equally disastrous doctrine of denial. There are numerous facets to this, but at its core is the adamant, don't mess with my consonants denial that modernism has any shadow side at all. Shipwreck? What shipwreck? And from the mid-20th century until today, this has fueled a war of the world views between those striving to foster a more equitable and sustainable planetary community based on universal moral regard for others and the earth, and those determined, consciously or unconsciously, to retain their inelastic psychological consonance and or their parochial power and privilege. Among the latter, from certain political factions to their strange bedfellow and acutely hypocritical religious bodies, to corporations, to mass and social media outlets, and on many other cultural fronts, unimaginable resources are aimed at maintaining this denial. And all these parties and efforts are just as profusely unimaginative, for they all amount to what scholar Henry Giroux calls disimagination machines. Because in that walled off and hemmed in worldview, imagining that society can be different is deemed dangerous. Hence, to sustain the crumbling order, it's imperative to shrivel our personal and collective imaginations and ideally suck them totally dry. One tactic is to present that world as self-evidently and unashamedly beyond reproach. This involves categorically dismissing any and all criticism, along with any proposals of new imaginative possibilities, as invalid, nigh unto insane. Reprising Wexler's phrasing, another is to chastise, devalue, and threaten with exclusion, or sometimes just threaten, anyone who espouses contrary positions, often with vehement and at times vicious scorn and ridicule. These feed into a third gambit, which is to sanctimoniously blame those who, in an equitable and sustainable planetary community, would now require equal consideration, to essentially say, if you don't fit my worldview, you're the problem. And there is a problem, except it's the doctrine of denial itself. For just as Campbell observed how the modern revolution delegitimized those great coordinating religious mythologies which now are known as lies, and thus rendered the ancient formula ineffective, misleading, and even pernicious, the postmodern transformation has done likewise with modernism. Because what renowned psychologist Carl Jung observed about individual life stories is also true of civilizational narratives and the historical eras based on them. Jung writes, "One cannot live in the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning. For what was great in the morning will be of little importance in the evening, And what in the morning was true will at evening become a lie. We'll continue next week by looking at more cultural effects of those disimaginative, denialist fabrications. Namaste, and blessed be. As part of Unitarian Universalism's free church tradition, this congregation is self-supporting, and thus we remain free to govern ourselves. In addition to their annual sustaining contributions, each week our members and friends may choose to give an additional gift as witness that we are and shall remain a free faith. You can use cash or check or the QR code and text or info in the order of service. Please give generously. We are grateful for the gifts offered today and for all the gifts and blessings in our lives. And if you're visiting with us today, that's a gift in itself. We extend an especially warm welcome to you, and I'd be honored to meet you when we finish, if you'd care to do that, as you are our special guest. Now please rise in body or in spirit and sing number 318 in our gray hymnal, We Would Be One. The lyrics are also on screen and online, number 318. Thanks to everyone involved in making today's service possible, including our greeters and ushers, tech team, and talented musicians. Please remember that after the service in Room A, the first organizing meeting of the new LGBTQ+ group takes place to discuss plans and ideas for regular meetings starting in the fall. Thanks to Liam Mina and Diana Skold for co-leading that. Again, that's after the service, after a few minutes in Room A. And in that same spirit of pride, again, please join us in Palo Alto's Pride celebration downtown at City Hall's King Plaza starting at 2 p.m. Look for the Multi-Faith Voices for Peace and Justice booth. And in this moment, our chalice extinguishing words are by Elizabeth Sell Jones. Please say them together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts. Now, if you're online, turn on your video and touch hands virtually. Folks here, if you'd rather not hold hands, you can cross yours over your heart to show you're connected in spirit, or find a hand to hold as we rise in body or in spirit and recite our benediction together. Go out into the world in peace. Be of good courage. Hold fast to what is good. Return no one evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Rejoice in beauty. Speak love with word and deed. Honor all.